Alright, today we're going to briefly talk about Bloody Finger Hunter Yura and Shabriri to some extent. So first off, Yura is a NPC you'll probably meet early on, either at the seaside ruins or at the little cave on the way to the Limgrave cave or whatever, where Patches is at. Where you get invaded by a Bloody Finger and he comes and helps you. If you happen to, defeat the dude, he commends you and he's like, oh, if fate deems it, then we'll meet again. Just watch your back. And if you slay the dragon, he gives you advice on what to do with the dragon heart to take it to the communion so you can get one of them fancy dragon head incantations. Yura also appears to be from the land of reeds, which is a whole country that seems to have given itself over to bloodlust during a civil war. It appears that maybe the Formless Mother is like a big presence there, and that maybe the land of reeds is both simultaneously a Sekiro reference and a Bloodborne reference. Who knows. I did read somewhere though that the translation actually called the land of reeds Ashina, which is the name of the place Sekiro set in. I don't know if that's true, don't quote me on it. I just read that somewhere and I was like, really? Maybe it is a direct Sekiro reference. If not, it's much in the same, camp is like the East that's always mentioned in Dark Souls, where we get like a couple characters who are from there and we get a little bit of backstory about the East, but we never really learned that much about it. We just know it's like Japan for all intents and purposes, while the Dark Souls is like obviously based on Western medieval stuff. There's always that distant Eastern land, which has to be a reference to Japan. I mean, they've got katanas, samurai armor. I mean, come on. Anyway, moving on. Yura's many descriptions say that he kept a woman close to his heart, and I believe that woman to be Eleonora, which is the woman you fight at the end of Yura's questline. Yura's hunting of the Bloody Fingers in general could be because Eleonora gave herself over to them, and he's just slowly killing them off one by one so he can get back to her, and kill her obviously too, but he blames all the other members too for corrupting her probably, or something like that. That's what I think at least. As I already said, he's also pretty knowledgeable about the Dragon Communion, and he seems to know that Eleonora has, maybe eaten too many Dragon Hearts because, she uses arcane Dragon Communion incantations in her fight, and he mentions, that you're slowly changed or you forever change when you embrace the power of the dragon. So, maybe that contributed to her bloodlust and her throwing her lot in with the Bloody Fingers and Mog and all that. And just some quick background on the Bloody Fingers. They appear to be just Mog's demons, people he's given power to so that they can, hunt other tarnished and basically serve his order in different ways. A famous example would be Okina, who literally sliced up Mog and basically bitched Mog out so that Mog would give him a piece of the power so he could become a demon. Pretty cool guy, though most just know him as the guy who uses rivers of blood. But it is worth noting that he too was from the land of reeds. So, spoiler alert, Yura eventually dies and has his body stolen from him by Shabriri, but the exact process of this is kind of unclear. Shabriri, who's a known liar, says that Yura gave him his body willingly, and if you go through his whole quest, Yura actually dies at the end, so we don't actually see him ever give his body to Shabriri, but perhaps they made a deal prior to all that. My theory on what happened is basically that Yura was hunting these Bloody Fingers for a good long time trying to get to Eleonora, and at one point he met his match and was left for dead. At that point, maybe it was near a conduit or a hotbed of the flame of frenzy or the madness, but for whatever reason, or maybe he learned a chant from the merchants, for whatever reason Shabriri was manifested to him and he made a deal with him. Shabriri is sort of like this avatar or servant of the Flame of Frenzy, and he appears to have no love for the Formless Mother and her henchmen. So I believe that Shabriri made Yura a deal, and obviously Yura was dying, so he didn't have much of a choice in this matter. I think the specifics of the deal were probably something along the lines of Shabriri offering Yura a chance to exact his revenge and hunt down all these Bloody Fingers, but at the end of the road, Yura has to give him his body. And we see little evidences of this, or at least evidence of the fact that Yura knows that the Flame of Frenzy or the madness is coming when you hear him mention the sounds of insects and he says, "Not now." Specifically, he says, "Bloody worms, leave me be." Now, this could just be evidence that he knows that the onset of madness is coming and he's trying to just fight it off as best he can. But he seems strangely unbothered by it, like he knew it was coming anyway, just that he wanted to be left alone by the worms at that very moment. But
Wretched worms, leave me be.
knowing that they would never leave forever, obviously. But anyway, if Yura's killed at any point in the game, he says she must be stopped, that he can't die until she's stopped. So he could just be, being dramatic in a sense because they're his last words, or that that was part of the deal, that he can't be killed until Eleonora is stopped. But for all of his knowledge of the world, Yura still dies, and there isn't really anything we can do to avoid it, like how you can, stop Jarberg from being destroyed if you just killed Dialos. Nope, Yura dies regardless as soon as you get to the mountaintops of giants, whether you did his quest or not, whether you even met him or not, and he gets his body taken from him by Shabriri. Now, I like that can happen off screen, but damn, it's frustrating if you happen to miss his whole quest and you have to go through the whole game just to do it again. Now, when it comes to Shabriri, there's a few fun theories that just sort of add to the whole why you shouldn't trust him sort of position. There's this really big and popular theory that he's the one who accused the great caravan merchants of an appalling crime that resulted in them being buried underneath the capital and them chanting the Flame of Frenzy. Like, he basically just little-fingered it. He's like, well, I need the 3 fingers to be summoned in the lands between, so how do I go about doing that? Oh, I know. I'll accuse these reclusive merchants who everybody kind of doesn't really trust, but, we just do business with, of the crime. They'll be the scapegoat, they'll get buried, and then they'll be the ones who actually summon the Flame of Frenzy so that they can be blamed for that as well, because, that way Shabriri himself is far removed from the whole incident, and there is no mention or anything connecting him with the Great Caravan or anything like that. He was probably long dead by that point, physically. But it's obviously not that simple for Shabriri, as he lived a long time ago and died. He appears to be some kind of supernatural frenzy wraith or frenzy demon. I guess it's a bit like how Gowry is sort of like this avatar, this agent working for the outer god of rot, or trying to bring back the outer god by getting it a new vessel or something like that. Shabriri is sort of this agent of the agent of chaos. He's literally an agent of chaos. When he was a man, he had his eyes gouged out for spreading heretical shit, basically. Basically being just all-around blasphemous like our good friend Rykard. But unlike Rykard, he wasn't that good of a dude, because at some point, Rykard wasn't a bad guy, and I'm working on a whole biography video about him right now to show that. But Shabriri just seems like genuinely just this kind of agent of chaos asshole dude who just wants to see the world burn for some reason. And it's not even like the Dung Eater or Gowry, where these horrible actions they're committing seem to benefit everybody in the long run for like this greater good, if you will. But like I said, the Dung Eater's ending is happier than this, and I will stand by the Dung Eater's ending as not being that bad of an ending. The Flame of Frenzy ending is just burning everything away. Like, what the fuck is that? There's nothing? That's not like the primordial crucible or whatever. That's just nothing. And honestly, I tricked Melina when I played, and I burned her, then inherited the flame, and I was like, how the fuck are you alive at the end? But if you choose the Flame of Frenzy, you pretty much do deserve to be hunted down by Melina. Like, it just is what it is. You pretty much got played by a supernatural frenzy demon to do it too, because he's just like, well, you'll save your maiden this way, and like, when you go down there, your maiden specifically warns you not to do this. Please don't do this. I will say I really liked Hyetta's questline. It was one of my favorite in the game, and it definitely set a precedence for some kind of possible frenzy demon body snatching. It was one of my first videos I did. An update on that is that if you kill Irina when you first meet her, and then, Edgar shows up and he's like, you monster, you killed her, and then you kill Edgar, first of all, a Shabriri grape will spawn there after a while, but Hyetta will never spawn. So I don't know if that, confirms that they aren't the same person, or if it confirms that they are, but it was just something I thought was interesting, because, Irina dies anyway, and then Hyetta spawns, and obviously Irina's body stays behind, so that kind of pokes a hole in the whole theory. I don't know, I thought it was worth mentioning, and it gave me an opportunity to reference, I think, my third video that I did on Elden Ring lore. I don't know, I like to think I've improved since then, but so basically, to sum it all up, I think Yura's quest is essentially the story of a man who accepted the help of a demon, or became a demon in a sense, so that he can still carry out his justice, which ironically was hunting demons of another outer god. I mean, this is a man who basically takes it upon himself to hunt these bloody fingers and wander the lands between alone, looking for more of them. And in the end, when he's defeated and begging for his life, Whether he had made the deal I mentioned with Shabriri or not, he realized it was all kind of pointless. I mean, he died in the end and Shabriri got his body. Whether he supposedly agreed to it or not, I mean, we pretty much see Yura die and we don't see him make no pact with no, Shabriri. Maybe it happened all mentally. Again, I'm not entirely married to the whole idea that he literally made a deal with Shabriri before his confrontation with Eleonora. Perhaps just the flame of frenzy was just already taking hold because he mentions the whole worms thing back in Rayla Lucaria. But I took it as a sign that he'd already made a deal with Shabriri and he was kind of just going forward with this plan, knowing that it was going to end with him in madness and having to give up his body to Shabriri. Either way, he ironically became a demon, or the host of a demon, after dedicating his whole life to hunting demons. Just a kind of funny note. Anyway, the Renala video will be up tomorrow. This was just sort of an impromptu video I wanted to make, and I got the idea while I was editing either the Mausoleum video or the Renala one, but those should be coming out back to back. Anyway, though, if you liked this video, please like. If you disliked it, please dislike. If you like my videos in general, please subscribe. I want to thank Baller of the First Sin for that retweet. That really, that was really cool, man. I appreciate that if you're listening. But my next video should be up tomorrow. It'll either be the Renala one or the Mausoleum one. You guys have a good one. Stay safe. Peace.
Eleonora. It seems I am no match for you, but I've learned a thing or two myself. You see, I've sliced the finger off. Please. Please. Eleonora. Yield to the cessplant no longer. Do not stain the immaculacy of your soul.